Today we're talking about Orania. Yep, that little town that seems to trend every 6 months because someone woke up and decided, wait, they still exist? Let me say this straight from the jump. Orania is not your problem. Listen to that again. Orania is not your problem. Just because a bunch of black people decide to wear a bunch of red berets and wave their flags and echo some racist slogans through the air and plan some protests saying we're going to Orania, we're going to bring justice, kill the poor, kill the farmer, it's not your problem. Bring justice for what exactly? Now pause. Before someone runs to Twitter and types in all caps, someone supports Orania. Nah fam, don't twist my words. You want to know if I support Orania? Then watch my other video on the EFF to know what I think. What I don't support is wasting time, energy, and focusing on a community that hasn't lifted a single finger to attack me. Let's be honest. Alright, let's cut all the crap, all the echo chamber outrage for a minute. Real talk. Why are we punching down? Look around you. Your child's school does not have desks. Your neighborhood has no water by 2 p.m. Your cousin's job application has been pending for 3 years. Your side hustle has no customers because your economy is on life support. The taxis are striking. The hospitals are full and Eskom just announced another 12 hours of load shedding. But you're worried about Orania. Oh my gosh. You see, this is what I mean when I say we mix our priorities. Let me put my yellow pillow down. Let's talk about this the Kasi way, the South African way. Imagine your house is burning. The kitchen is on fire. Your baby is crying. Your fridge is melting. And you, yes you, decide to walk across the street and throw a bunch of stones at your white neighbor's weird garden gnome. That's what this looks like. That's what this entire protest feels like. Because Orania is not your enemy. Your empty fridge is. Your broken dreams are. Your future that's slipping through those little fingers of yours. That's your real fight. You see, Orania is just there. They're doing their thing there. Are their ideologies outdated? Hell yes. Do I agree with their separatist stuff? No. But are they breaking into your house? Are they robbing your auntie's tuck shop? Are they corrupting your municipality? No, no, and no. So why the obsession? Because it's easier. It's easier to shout at a target that's not going to hit back. It's easier to protest something you think you can cancel than to fix the system broken in your own backyard. You don't like Orania? Fine. Then beat them at their own game. Show them a better South Africa. Build a united South Africa, a stronger, more successful, united community of all colors and races. Make it so damn excellent that Orania looks there and says, damn, maybe we should try something new. Because you know what's funny? These people want to hold on to their bubble of nostalgia and pretend protesting in Orania will fix everything for South Africa because at one point it was under apartheid. You have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have knowledge, you have culture, you have numbers, you have youth, you have fire. What are you doing harassing a community? You have me to watch. And then you think I'm wasting my time marching in front of a painted wall in Orania? Yes, I am. Instead of investing my voice in you, what would it help if I went and started protesting there? We don't need to attack Orania to fix the country. You need to outshine it. Let me say it again, lead it by example. You want community? You want unity? Start it in your own home. You want justice? Start with your own corrupt municipality with black people in it. You want economic growth? Start building your own legacy. Because this whole thing of waking up, putting red overalls, shouting into microphones, saying kill the white people and going back home broke and exhausted, that is not revolution. That is Marxism. That is cosplay. Real revolution is waking up at 4 a.m. and studying. Real revolution is saying no to corruption. Real revolution is helping your mom with stuff she needs. Building businesses. Real revolution, raising children with discipline and purpose. Real revolution is making sure your granny's pension is respected. Real revolution is getting mustard pillows like this and delivering banger after banger videos. You protesting Orania is like protesting for a pigeon not being a lion. It's not their job to change. It's your job to rise. And here's the kicker. Protesting at Orania actually does the opposite of what you want. Because now they're like, aha, you see. That's why we created Orania. This is why we're protecting ourselves. This is what we're protecting ourselves from. You're literally feeding their narrative. You're making them feel justified. If you're making them feel justified, congratulations. I'm not saying be silent. I'm not saying ignore injustices. But if anything, you don't want to make your enemy feel even more right than they already did. We've got real fights around here, people. A broken education system, gender-based violence, youth unemployment, politicians who loot and lie in your face, Eddie Guerrero style. You've got state capture, you've got dirty water, you've got unsafe neighborhoods. And you're here screaming at Orania. Bruv, make it make sense. In the WWE, you think John Cena is standing backstage watching some amateur in the local gym and saying, that's my enemy? Hell nah. He is focused on the title, the WWE Championship. He's focused on the main stage. He doesn't mix his priorities. That's you. You're not focusing on the real prize. You're not focusing on what matters. Let's get one thing straight. Orania is not your enemy. Orania is your mirror. And most South Africans hate looking in the mirror because it shows them the truth. A little white conservative community out there in the Karoo, building their own economy, running their own schools, having their own money, raising their own kids, and people start panicking. But what are they panicking about? It's not racism. No, if it was racism, you'd be angry at your own government for the racist policies they run daily, the way they steal opportunities from your youth, sell jobs to political connections, and keep poor people of all races locked in poverty. You'd be angry at the corruption that's making everyone else starve. But Orania, you're mad at a small town that's minding its own business, that has their own banks, their own currency, their own police station, their own farms. You're not angry because they're bad. You're angry because they're doing something you should have done many, many years ago. They didn't wait for the government to rescue them. They didn't wait for tenders. They didn't blame apartheid for every morning over cereal. They just said, let's build, and they built. And that right there is the problem. Orania doesn't remind you of racism. It reminds you of your own potential. It reminds you that you could have had a working community too, but instead you were stuck in places where the schools were broken, the streets are dangerous, and our own people are stealing from us in power. And instead of fixing that, we find it easier to shout, down with Orania. But here's the kicker. You can't scream down what you've never stood up to match. Orania is a reflection, and you're just angry at your own face in the mirror. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You're busy complaining about Orania, while your real enemies are robbing you blind. Every week, another corruption scandal drops. Another load-shedding excuse. Another protest where no one shows up unless there's a camera. And yet, the only time South Africans seem truly unified is when Orania trends on Twitter. Burn it down! It's apartheid! No, brother. Apartheid is when your school has no textbooks. Apartheid is when you get treated like a criminal and absolute garbage at the hospital because you're poor. Apartheid is when politicians loot disaster funds while babies drown in floods and in orphanages. Meanwhile, Orania is doing its own thing there, and they're not even using your tax money. That's the craziest part. You're mad at people who are not even draining your system. Meanwhile, the ANC has drained every department, every fund, every municipality, and they're still in power. Make it make sense. And let's talk about these politicians. Every time elections come, they dangle Orania in front of you like a piñata for you to strike. Look, 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 look. Here's racism. Orania. They need Orania to distract you. If they really wanted unity, they'd go and fix eMalahleni, Soweto, Mthatha, eThekwini, every other broken town first. But no! They'd rather let those places rot and give you Orania as a punching bag. So here's a wild idea. Stop falling for the distraction, because Orania is not your problem. The real problem is you've been too loyal to the leaders who hate you to the bone. You've been loyal to your votes and the wolves in sheep's clothing. You've defended their failure in the name of liberation movements, and now you're in the same trap year after year after year after year. Meanwhile, Orania just keeps building, quiet, focused, disciplined. Does that remind you of anyone? Yes, China. And we, the rest of us, keep getting louder, more divided, more broken, more bitter. You want to solve the inequality gap? Then take your energy away from Orania and start building your own version. Make your communities clean, Grow your own food, fix your local school, create systems that don't depend on the government. That is how you win. But as long as you're screaming at people who are not even in the way, the real thieves will keep stealing. You're not fighting Orania. Bruv, you're fighting a freaking ghost. Meanwhile, your future's being looted, dead in the face. Now, real quick, imagine this. You're in a Joburg taxi. Your battery is dying, you're sweating. You haven't had water since last night. You open your phone, you see the news. The EFF is marching to Orania. And then you go, oh yeah, that's progress. Nah, man, that's delusion. Chris Wyatt got threatened a few days ago for speaking facts. And that was just one example. Citizen Concern got crapped on a few days ago for speaking the truth. I get crapped on every single day. Every day, emails saying, shut up, Summer, and stay in your lane. The hate I get, that's how I know I'm doing something right. So if they hate me for saying this, then good. Let them. Because it means someone is listening. They can't stand the fact that a young, smart black guy from Joburg with passion and purpose is exposing the nonsense because they're scared. Not of Orania, not of whatever they want to make you believe with their shiny suits. They're scared of you and me. Because we're waking up. So now what? Stop wasting time. Stop chasing clout protests to trend online. Fix you, fix your family, fix your street, fix your block, fix your city, then your province, then your country. Lead, build, win. Orania is not your enemy. Your silence in the face of local corruption is. Your fear is. Your complacency is. So rise, be great, be dangerous, be excellent. Not because of Orania, but in spite of it. Let them watch us build. Let them sit in that desert and realize we've missed the real South Africa, because the real South Africa should be rising right now. You know what South Africa feels like sometimes? I'm going to paint a picture for you. Imagine you're walking down the street. It's sunset, let's say in Durban. You just bought yourself a nice Durban kota with some of that curry in it, some cold Powerade. You know, everybody's feeling okay. You're looking that side, you see the beach waves flowing. You're there with your billabong shirt, and then boom, out of nowhere, a guy appears in front of you with a panga in one hand and SARS tax forms in the other. And he says, give me everything. He takes your money, your quota, even your data bundles. But what do? You spin around. And instead of shouting at the man who just cleaned you out, you start yelling across the street at the quiet guy watering his plants. That's literally what we do in this country. That's what the EFF does. The ANC has been robbing us, load-shedding us, sending us stage 6 while it's stage 8, and it's peeking around the corner like, surprise! And what do? We go and protest in Orania. We write angry tweets about Orania. We say Orania is the root of our problems. Orania, Orania, Orania. We sound like a bunch of chickens, pathetic chickens who don't even know the colors of their own feathers. It's like wearing sunglasses and praying that your rent money is enough this time. And instead of making sure it's enough, you go and protest at Orania. What about the people who gave us NSFAS drama every year like it's a Netflix series? The people who increased your tax and then reversed it. The people who invented potholes with their own postal codes. 8 ministers in one office, each earning $2 million a year to work from home. Let ESCOM become a haunted house with no lights. But hey, Orania's got some white people farming tomatoes. How dare they? Attack! Meanwhile, the real problem is slapping you dead in the face, wearing your stolen Jordans, eating your quota, and still charging you VAT. Bruv, it's like blaming the waiter at the restaurant for burning your food, when the chef is in the kitchen throwing flour at the ceiling and dancing to Mnige. Haike. We must start seeing through these diversion tactics, guys. It's easier to throw blame across the road than to face the guy robbing you every day in your yard. That's a fact. That's why we do this. It's easier to call Orania racist than your local councillor useless. It's easier to shout at people who built their own legacy than to demand actual governance from the criminals we keep voting in. And trust me, I'm not defending anyone here. But let's not act like they're the ones who told us free education and gave us NSFAS drama and promised jobs for youth and then delivered absolutely nothing but internships that pay with experience and trauma. Stop yelling across the street. The guy robbing you is standing right in front of you. and he's using your TV to watch the news report on your outrage. Enjoy your day.